Peace of the days will return, and bring peace to your children. Bless us, who created all things in existence. Peace of the days will return, and bring peace to your children.
Veramente eccezionale. Io sto leggendo mentre ascolto, mentre ascolto leggo i commenti delle persone collegate, che sono davvero tante e sono tutti, insomma, a bocca aperta per questo set di Anna. Anna, che abbiamo già pronta, quindi io farei entrare. Che dici, Marco?
Assolutamente sì. Anna, I'm trying to tell you that you are receiving a lot of compliments for your performance.
Thank you.
It was very fine. So I'm gonna tell you a few ones. There is one from Corrigi. It was an awesome performance. Many thanks, Tulpa Dusha. I really love your floating beats.
Oh, thank you so much. So cool.
Okay, if there are any questions, I will tell them to you so you can answer even to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
There is something about Marco Gardella, who is saying, curious about the modules she has in her rack, making them sound so well, not so easy. So it's another compliment.
Thank you.
You are receiving many, many compliments, and you deserve them, of course, because it was a very interesting performance.
Thank you.
Since you are a teacher, there is something that you can explain us so we can understand more clearly about your set.
Absolutely, and with pleasure. I hope that you can see everything well. So basically, I promised to sort of like break down this particular patch that was in this performance. I already started to I prepared myself a little bit. So if you can see, I'm using electron samples and move matriarch and my modular system. So basically, that's the setup that is active at this particular patch. The system that stands behind me is not connected at this point. It's a system for the school.
So it's only visual, right?
Well,
It's not connected.
this system I brought at home because for the book for this book we have a platform as well. So every chapter in the book has a patch. So I decided to film every patch and give it a voice, so where we explain what exactly is going on. So that's why I brought the system, because the next we'll do the filming of more. I made simple patches already and I published them already. They are available. So people who have a book can go to the platform, and every chapter from chapter number 1 to chapter number 9, every patch has a voice, has a video. There is also overview for every chapter. And
so everything is explained among these chapters, right? From
exactly.
the one. Okay.
Yes, from chapter 1 till chapter 9. It's a lot of work, and it is a work in progress. So when we published the book, and the moment we said, okay, we're gonna make the book, the whole process was very visible to public. From the beginning on, from the scratch point until the actual printed version. So same is happening with the platform. Basically, it's work in progress that's been publicly progressing. So right now, chapters 1 till 9 are opened, and I made the decision to publish it because I don't want people to stop in their progress. I want them to start to learn as soon as possible. And if these videos make it easier for them, then it's great, So
okay, I beg your pardon for interrupting you, but there is a very interesting question that I just received from, let me tell the correct name, from Jamie Creswell. He's just said that I am interested in the granular system that you use and how to use it.
Regarding granular synthesis, I have a module called Grant PA from Bastel Instruments. So that's basically the only granulation that I'm doing in my system. Right now, I also have this effect thing called U-burst that is also relates to granulation and sort of like time event synthesis. I use this as an effect. So I'm sending, I will show, I prepared something. So I wanted to actually show the signal routing that I used in this particular performance that was streamed earlier today. So regarding this question, I'm using Bastel Grand PA and addition called SPA. So basically what I usually do, I assign a length of the sample and the speed of the repetition. And then in the moment of time, I also play with those knobs and they give interesting results. For example, the sample start to, if you change the length of it in real time, then you have interesting effects like the sample would be stretched from one moment to wider and things like this, So basically, regarding granulation, that's what I use. Electron is also offering something that would be referred to granular synthesis, but not really. Like basically, it is a retriggering option that I'm using per sample. So that can remind you something like granulation, but it's actually just retriggering in real life. So that's the answer.
Fine. I think you said everything about this. And, I was very curious too about your set. And I think that even more compliments are coming. I can't even read all of them because there are too many.
Oh, thank you.
It was very, very crazy to read a lot of stuff that, there is even Jimmy Creswell saying, I've just bought grandpa, etc.
Right. So
yeah. Oh, I see a little kitten. I love it.
She suddenly decided to appear publicly as well.
Yeah. I guess he's helping to creating cool sounds and presets.
Sometimes.
Another interesting thing that Davide Vitturini is asking for you is, what do you search in a patch? What's the most important part in a patch for you?
I always orientate whenever I construct the patch. For example, this particular patch was deliberately in down tempo and ambient and more like chill out kind of direction. So basically, I started from that point. I thought, okay, what is my end result? Like these days, it's a hectic time, and I wanted to present something nice, something chill out, something calm, more light mood. So I look at the content, ideological content basically. So let's say how fast this music should be. Let's say if I would have been performing at the party and I know that people would like to make it harsher during nighttime, so my BPM would be 136, 145, let's say. So I will start with that. So ideological kind of direction. Okay, what is expected from me? I'm a little bit sort of like flexible artist in a way, because I can go from ranges from like complete ambient drone until like very fast, very hard nighttime music. So this kind of like defines my path. And from there, let's say, okay, I'm gonna do chill out. So I start to prepare my master clock devices, all the instruments that I would like to use in the particular patch, how they're gonna sound in conjunction with each other, because in Eurorack you are dealing with different machines from different manufacturers, from different type of voices. So you need to look through the technical aspects, through the patch, and then of course the actual sculpturing and carving of the sound starts when you actually hear the sounds all together, and then you sort of like decide, okay, this sound is great, this sound maybe I need to work a little bit here. And also I always advise to people to do everything in raw form and only then use some effects. And then again, effects can also be your instruments in real time in a way. So yeah, it's sort of like, it starts with idea, then it goes into the technical specification, so to say, and then starts the actual kind of work over the patch and planning how I'm gonna progress it, or how am I going to shift it to the next theme. So that sort of things.
Okay, the explanation was very, very cool. There is one last question at the moment I would like to tell you. It's from Flavio Rubato, which is saying, I would like to know her must-have one gear, of course not for modular, for processing melodies, and one for rhythm. And he said, of course, that you're amazing. So what's your must-have gear?
Must-have gear? For me personally, this is always... it's very open question, because the moment, like at this point, must-have instruments that I have in my system is DFAM. DFAM is my must-have instrument, Moog DFAM. Because the rest elements, for example, Electron is a very new instrument in my setup. I was like one of the latest people who kind of added Electron devices to their system, I think. And that was a conscious decision to make, because I thought, okay, it's time for me to explore dark progressive psychedelic trance music, which usually psytrance music. I come from psychedelic trance world. I DJ'd for like 20 years, very dark, very complex music. So of course, somewhere deep inside of me, I want to also play this type of style of music, perform it live, but it's a quite difficult style, because it changes very fast and there is a lot of variety. Like almost every 4-8 bars, some kind of change is happening. So that's why I added more complex instrument like electron samples that would help me to create scenes which I cannot really, like in a big variety, like the instrument like electron samples help you to create a bank of your own, let's say, sketches, sound sketches, where you can, and they would be very, very different from one from another, because it's a sample-based instrument, and it has capacity to help you to build up so many, like a custom, I call them sketches, and that was it's a new thing in my setup. Same as a Moog Matriarch is a new machine at this point. So must have for all the times for me was always DFAM, Mother 32, and Patching Panda hi-hat. So that would be the sample, Grand PA sampler. So that was like my 2 years, these machines were forever with me, And now, of course, this changes because new instruments now is addition. So I'm still kind of like figuring my way, Every time you get some new device, you suddenly change everything. So let's say, at this point it changes.
Fine. There is another interesting question from Sonic Voltage that I would like to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
How many individual voices did you use for this performance? What did you use as a main sequencer?
Okay, I think I better start to do we also are limited with time, so I'm gonna just focus on this patch. I guess it's time. So basically, in this particular patch, I use the electron device as my master clock, and through the MIDI, I connect everything to the matriarch. So we're connected through the MIDI to the matriarch. With that, we are sharing the clock, and matriarch has the euro rack outputs on the rear panel. So I have something like euro output, clock output. So this clock output I connect to the tip-top circadian rhythms, and I switch the circadian rhythm to the clock receiving mode. So in that moment, my devices are clock connected, event connected, so all is fine with them. Additionally, I would also send a reset to all the instruments that require reset. At the moment, I didn't do that. It's like I don't want us to like. It would take time for us right now. So let's say I prepared this pillow already before the interview started. So my drum voices: voice number 1, electron; voice number 2, move matriarch; voice number 3, defem; voice number 4, hi-hat; voice number 5, Grand PA sample; voice number 6, tip-top audio 1, also a sampler. And the rest is processors and control voltage generators, LFO additionally for the later on modulation. And that's it, pretty much. So I also tend to kind of like to this philosophy that less is more, because also objectively in real time you need to control a lot of voices. You need to make sure that they are progressing and being in harmony with each other. Besides that, you need to make sure that it's all in clean and level and not over peaking, you know, or sounding dirty. So it's a lot of work to do in real time. So that's why I advise to have 5 voices, but they must be very full voices, you know. Like, I mean, again, electron gives you a lot of scenery out there. Like a matriarch allows you also a lot of modulation in real time, or sequences you can store in the memory slot. So, you know, and then start the actual work when you progress from one voice to another. So right now in this particular setup, what is happening? Devices are in clock with each other. Electron is going through line in into the euro rack, and from there I send the output of basically the audio signal into the main mixer that goes into the line out. So that would be my main mixer, into where all the voices are going to. And first thing when I always start, I always make sure that my drum voices are in harmony with each other. So I send them both. Normally I send them into the filter or into a compressor together to glue them with each other. And only then I send them to the main mix. But in this particular case, I didn't do that step. I said, okay, I'm gonna keep both the drum machines clean as they are. Mm-hmm. So basically they're just sent into the mix, and we can actually hear it right now, what's going on. So
here it comes, yeah.
So as you hear, it's basically the same, almost the same thing that we started the performance from. Matriarch has its own onboard stereo delay, and the sound of it is it's beautiful. So I'm not doing any external post-processing with that whatsoever. So these 3 voices at this point just going directly into the mix and to the audio system from here. And like I said, I would repeat, this is not the ultimate way. I would suggest to pass it through the filter that has a lot of like control voltage inputs, because you can create extremely specific type of soundscapes just by like feeding control voltage to the filter, because it would create like extra tonality, extra layers to your patch. But in this case, I wanted to make it more like easygoing, a little bit clean like that.
Okay.
So,
There's something that I would like to ask you. In this kind of performance of yours, how much is planned and how much is not?
how much is planned?
Yeah.
The beginning is planned. That's
So only the first part.
the beginning, and also, let's say, scenery on the electron is planned as well. Again, I didn't really plan it like normally. I would start with some simpler type of patches, like patterns on the electron, and then would complex them throughout time. If I would be playing, let's say, heavy music, like nighttime music. But for the chill out, I was more like, okay, it's a chill out, so we can be very flexible here. We can go from something like down tempo into the ambience, and from the ambience into more like almost like breakbeat kind of things. So in that particular case, like I was like flexible in that sense. So this is a bit like planned ahead. This is probably my first performance where I actually planned so much ahead. Normally, I'm just creating a patch, and from this patch, I just go whenever it brings me to. Especially regarding minimal techno, there's like most of the time I get a lot of freedom. Because normally my instruments would be like Mother 32 and DFM, and there's a lot of like work happens with the harmonics themselves, and you kind of like modulate and evolve it in real time, and you don't really rely so much on something pre-planned in a way. Whereas instruments like electron, they sort of like also push you into some kind of like a workflow with them, and they would require certain pre-planning and pre-preparing of your own presets on the machine. So of course I had to follow that with these instruments in this particular case. So
Okay, the answer was very satisfying. There's something that I forgot to tell you. This question was not from me, but from Jamie Creswell. I just forgot to say it.
right.
He said me that I stole his question.
All right.
Well, I'm just reporting them. So Anna, it was a pleasure to have you here and to attend to your performance. Having you here at Soundmit, and you're still receiving compliments.
Oh, great.
Even Jimmy Creswell is telling you that the answer was great.
Thank
So
you.
we are satisfied with you. I just would like to thank you for being here, and maybe if other part of the audience just want to see something about your book and your set and other information about you and what you're doing, they just can visit, I guess, your social media pages, your website, and
Yes.
other channels of yours.
Yes. You can just I post a lot on Instagram, and there is websites. It's all written there.
So these are the channels that you use more.
Instagram,
Your
actually,
Instagram
Instagram,
page.
Facebook. Yeah,
Okay.
like for the daily, I don't know, update and reminder that, and things like this. But overall, the website, the modularmoon.com and tulpadusha.org also have like all the major kind of announcements, like, hey, there's this update, this event, or things like this.